So the UN has a big plan, and it's a summit summit of the future. So they say that Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals, are going to be reaffirmed, and they're going to, they say, address gaps in global governance. And when they talk about addressing gaps in global governance, this is globalist speak for radically empowering the UN. So you've got now very, very openly, you've got the head of the UN, Antonio Guterres, calling for a global agency to regulate artificial intelligence. And we told you this was going to be coming, right? We told you they were going to come up with false solutions to deal with the problems that they are creating. And we'll see many examples of this heading into the summit of the future. And so this is what they're doing, right? They're coming up with these crises. Another one, obvious one, is the food one. And so as they're destroying the food supply, they're also putting out this fake narrative that the reason we're going to have food shortages, and a lot of people around the world already are having food shortages, is because, well, climate change. And so you need to get used to accepting a UN climate regime. So they have this handy little roadmap to the future, roadmap to the summit of the future. And so 2015 is when they adopted the 2030 agenda. We've gone over that. It's basically global totalitarianism. And then you get to 2024, the summit of the future. And this says the summit of the future will build upon the SDG summit and breathe new life into the multilateral system so that it can deliver on the promises of the UN Charter and the 2030 agenda. Okay, and then 2024, they intend to have a pact for the future, which somehow they already know that it's going to be endorsed. They actually say it right on the website. It's an action-oriented pact for the future will be endorsed by heads of state and government at the summit. So we don't even know what it is yet, but we can assure you that heads of state and government will be endorsing it. So as part of this, I mentioned the Secretary General has released a series of quote-unquote policy briefs. Not all of them have been released publicly, but they sound very appealing, right? The first one deals with future generations. And so a lot of this tyranny, this global multilateral enhancement is being done under the guise of serving and helping and protecting the world for future generations, which is convenient when you speak for future generations and future generations don't exist yet and, of course, can't speak for themselves. Now, they have another one, beyond gross domestic product. They want to come up with new ways of measuring well-being and economic success beyond gross domestic product. Why? Because GDP is objective. And when you look at GDP and you compare it with economic freedom, you'll find very quickly that the most economically free countries are also the most prosperous countries. And of course, they don't like that. They want a global digital compact information integrity. They're talking about global censorship here, folks. They want to silence you on the internet. They want to make sure you cannot spread truth on social media. They want to force all the social media companies to silence you if you say things that they don't want you to say. They have one on international financial architecture. They're talking about fundamentally transforming the global economy away from what's left of the free market and toward this kind of fascist, globalist, technocratic system that Klaus Schwab is constantly talking about, right? A stakeholder capitalism where corporations must serve the governments. That's what they're talking about. And they have one on outer space. They want to regulate and control outer space, and I suspect there's even more to it than that. They also have a new agenda for peace, and peace has historically been the pretext to empower the UN, right? That was actually the pretext to create the United Nations. A lot of peace they've brought us, right? The world has been filled with war since the United Nations came about. Then you have transforming education, which has not been released yet. Once it is, we will update you on that. And then United Nations 2.0, right? Think of this like a constitutional convention. They want to go back to the drawing board and create a new, stronger, more powerful UN with the authority to meddle in every area of your life, not just attack your gun rights, not just try to silence you on the internet, not just brainwash your children through UNESCO in the public schools. They want every area of your life to come under the authority of the United Nations.